Hi everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to Tea Time on a Card. I just need to fix my camera just a tad. I just did a video and I had to bring it way up. I'm just going to make sure it's hard to get it back to where I had it before. Okay, here I go. I think everything's all set. Welcome everyone. As you can see, I have the Celebration catalog here to show you. I can now open it to show you what I'm going to be using today. I'm actually using this pretty designer paper. And if you look on page 8, if you have the catalog, it says up here that this paper coordinates with the On the Farm bundle. Now, I don't have this bundle, but I made pretty cards just pretty much using the designer paper. Because look at all the images that you can cut. I'm going to show you. I'm doing 2 cards with you. And before I get to my cards, so let me show you the reverse side of the paper. And this paper you can earn for free with a $50 order during Celebration. These are like half sheets because I've used a lot. Now I'm going to take these away. I want to show you something I did before I show you my cards because it's such a great idea. This piece right here, so pretty. It's got the little scenery thing going around. I had a hard time cutting through this, but I had the idea of creating 6 cards. So what I did is I cut off, let me see what this is. I forgot what the measurement was. 1.5. I cut 1.5 inches off the top because I wanted to keep all the action that's going on down here. Once I cut that off, I cut 3 strips 4 inches wide and then 5.25. So you get 6 cards out of this piece, and I want to show you what my cards look like. They're simple, but they're so cute. So this is the paper all lined up. There was the blue at the top. And then I had the green. Let me see if I get this right. This goes over here. I had it backwards. So there's the sheet of paper. You can almost put it back together like a puzzle. But I cut it up into 6 sections to make 6 cards with it. And all 6 of these have the same elements on it from the stylish shapes. I used the banner and then a circle. And that's it. Look how easy these were. So I just wanted to show you that for an idea to do with one of your sheets if you earned this paper for free already. And now we're going to get going on my 2 cards. Now, because I don't have the stamp set, I did a lot of fussy cutting ahead of time. Just want to make sure you guys are there. Okay, so I did my fussy cutting ahead of time. Now, another tip I wanted to show you. Let me grab the sheet that I want to reference. You'll notice that some of my animals, where's my sheet? Okay, this one right here. See where I have just a part of the pig, just the hind end, and then the cow? Well, these were right off the edge. And I didn't want to waste them, and you'll see what I'm going to do with them when I get to this card. I'm going to work on this card first. And for that one, I'm also using another Celebration set, the Sending Support for the Sentiment. And I'm using Here for You Always. And this is the first card I'm doing. I actually grabbed the idea from the catalog. But I kind of changed the paper direction so that more of the paper would be visible. You can see here that they have most of it covered over. And I did a little bit different here. So my layers that I'm using, I've got Sahara Sand, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And all the elements that I'm using on this card are right here. And I did the same with the silo. It was cut off at the top, but you'll see what I did with. I don't want to waste it, right? I have a scrap piece of white. I have 2 pieces of designer paper that measure the same. Those are 4 inches by 3, 2 pieces. This is just a sliver off of one of the sheets that has the little mountainous designs on them. And it's actually 2 inches by 4. And then this is a rectangle from the Stitched Rectangles dies. Basic white, 4 inches by 2 5/8. So I'm going to start out by gluing this designer paper right here. And I'm going to glue that at an angle. So you guys, you can see that the only stamping I did was the sentiment. The designer paper did all the work for me. Designer paper number 2. I'm going to put this one a little higher. So there's those 2 pieces. Now next is going to be the rectangular shape, and I'm actually going to take my paper snips, and I want these mountains. They're not going to be the same as this one because it's a different part of the sheet. I'm cutting right on that light green shade. I don't want any of that dark green showing. So easy. These are all pre-printed for you. I just followed that. I'm going to glue that to the bottom, even with the edge. I'm starting to create my little scenery. And I'm just going to need to trim just a little bit on the end. Now I had cut one circle, and this circle was actually 1 5/8. I cut it in half. I used one on this card, and then I'm going to use this one on my second card. I'm going to lift this up and slide that under. And I'm going to make sure my lines are lined up. So there's my little sun, again using the same designer paper that I have here. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place with dimensionals. And then I'm going to glue the rest of the pieces on there. Just a quick way to do up a little scenery. But there's so much that you can cut off of the designer paper sheets if you don't have the stamp set. Now this one, I'm going to go straight about 1/2 inch from the bottom. And there's where this little piece comes in that's flat at the top because I cut it off of the edge. I'm going to add liquid glue, and it's going to look okay because it's going to be lined up with the edge of my rectangle. So it looks normal, right? So that's why I did that with the animals on card number 2, because you can still use those partial animals. There's my little barn. And then the little tree. I already put the dimensionals on these to save time as well. There's my little tree. I'm going to tuck it behind the house just a little. Then we got the 2 cows grazing. I used mini dimensionals on those. Okay, there's cow number 2. And all I got left to do on this one is the sentiment. So once everything is cut, this is really quick. So I'm going to do the sentiment. And I'm going to bring my trimmer in. I cut that at an angle. And I did trim some of this off just to make it a little skinnier. And we're going to glue that down with dimensionals. So quick card. Both the cards are going to be quick only because I already hand cut everything. I figured you guys wouldn't want to watch me hand cut all these pieces. Okay, look how cute that is. The scenery's a little bit different because I used the hills on a different part of that designer paper sheet. So there's card number 1. Let me set up for card number 2. I'm going to use the same ink, the Cherry Cobbler. And this time I'm using the Garden Birdhouses, the Hello sentiment. I'm also using the Picture This dies. Now these dies come in rectangles or circles. And every time I use this, all of these that get popped out, I keep them in here because these are really neat because they're all stitched. So they're all ready to go. I just keep them all in here. When I need one, they're ready to go. So I'm going to be using this rectangular one. I'll show you the card after I show you all the products I'm using. Again, Sahara Sand, but this time 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And then here's the designer paper, 5 1/4 by 4. And I did go ahead and cut another pattern using just the rectangles. I wanted a different pattern to put inside the holes. And then basic white, 5 1/4 by 4. Now the first thing I'm going to do before I show you the card is cut my designer paper with my cutting machine. And all I'm going to do is center the die. And then of course I'm going to end up with 3 more rectangles, but I will put that aside in my designer paper pack to use on another card. So here's my cutout. And this is what my card looks like. All those animals I cut out. So now what I need to do is add dimensionals. I'm going to need quite a few only because we have all these little strips with holes in the middle. And let's see, I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals just to add a few on the little strips in the middle. So a lot of dimensionals, but I wanted height. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm actually going to glue that to the white. Now you don't really need to do the white, but I figured in case once you glue these down, in case you end up with a little peak of color in the back, since these are white to begin with, I just went ahead and added the white. So now I got to peel all of these off. I'm almost done. Lots of dimensionals. Okay, so now what I'm going to do to make it a little easier, I'm going to cut off a smidgen on one side and the top, so it's a little bit smaller than my designer paper. And then I'm going to glue that. Oh, I just got that caught on my fingernail. Did you see that? I'm going to have to fix that somehow. The dimensional stuck right on my fingernail. Wait a minute, I gotta peel it off. It's crooked. I'm gonna have to add glue to that, and I think I can fix it because I don't have another piece right now. Let me see if I can add a little bit of liquid glue. I think it's gonna be okay. I'm just gonna hold it there for a second. And I can always put a little ribbon or something there. Okay, we're just going to keep going. So now what I need to do is glue these rectangles in all of these holes. So I'm just going to add liquid glue. Easier to add it inside the holes. Whoops, I almost put that one upside down. Stick that inside. So these are actually flat, whereas the frame is raised with the dimensionals. I just need to lift this up. Okay, one more. I love this paper. It's so cute. Okay, now we're going to start gluing our little animals, but first I want to add the sentiment right inside this little rectangle, and it just fits in there. Fits perfectly. And now we can start gluing all of our animals. I think I'll glue this to the card base. Yeah, see, this hardly shows now. It's drying and it's going to be okay. So let's start out with the little scenery at the bottom. We got the trees. We're going to put that right here, flat. And then here's the cow. Now I didn't want the cow to be in the same position as the one up here. So I kind of made him stand up a little bit. So all I'm going to do is cut that at an angle. And then I'm going to stuff him right in there. Where's my paper piercer? Let me push the legs in. So he kind of looks like he's standing up instead of grazing because I lifted him up a little. And then we need one of our little piggies and our sheep. So I'm just kind of creating little sceneries with each window is what I did. But see how that cow was right on the edge of the designer paper, and I didn't waste him by doing it this way. Okay, next we're going to do the same with the little pig. So I need 2 pigs. We're going to tuck this one in. Tuck this one in. We're just filling up all those little holes. We've got another loose little piggy right here. This little piggy went to market. We're going to put him right here. And the cow. Now the cow, I did something a little different. I did glue him flat. I can get him in there. Hold on. There we go. Oh, you know what it is? I have a dimensional right there. I have to cut his leg off. That dimensional is not letting me do it. There we go. Now what I did to make him look like he's eating that flower, I actually took a mini dimensional, and I stuck it under his head just to lift the head up from being flat. Then we have a flower like coming out of his mouth. And then I tucked another flower behind that. So look how cute, just a little scenery like we did on the first card. So let me bring the other card back in. And that's how quick. The worst part is cutting everything out. I know a lot of you guys don't like to fussy cut, but it's not that bad. I mean, these ones were the worst, the little piggies and the little cows. I hope you enjoyed my video today. And I have no idea what I'm doing next week. I usually work a week ahead, but I haven't yet. So have a good week, everyone. And thanks so much for visiting with me. See you later. Bye-bye.